The regular 1983 Washington quarter carried all the details that had defined the series for over 50 years. On the obverse, Washington's bust face left, framed by the word liberty at the top, the motto "I in God, we trust" to the left, and the date 1983 at the bottom. On the reverse, the bald eagle perched proudly on arrows with wings outstretched, flanked by laurel branches, with United States of America arched above and $quarter below. That classic design was meant to be crisp and balanced, but error coins disrupted the perfection in ways that made them unmistakable to anyone who looked closely. Some 1983 errors were off-center strikes, where part of the design was missing and an arc of bare metal showed where the die had missed. Others bore the strange, shadow-like doubling of a double strike, or were struck on planchets meant for dimes or foreign coins, giving them unusual weight and appearance. Each flaw became a marker of rarity, the kind of feature that catches the attention of experienced collectors and sparks a ripple of excitement in the numismatic world. Once a rare 1983 Washington quarter error is identified, its journey often leads to auction. These auctions are where stories are written and legends are built. The coin, once just an overlooked piece of change, becomes the centerpiece of bidding wars. The auctioneer begins with a modest opening, knowing full well the price will climb. Paddles rise in the room, phone bidders call in from across the country, and online offers flash in real time. The bidding escalates quickly as determined collectors refuse to back down, each driven by the desire to own something so scarce that only a handful might exist in the world. Some of these coins have been seen more than once on the auction block. A piece sold in the early 2000s for what seemed like a strong sum at the time, later returned to auction years later, and sold for more than double its previous price. Repeat appearances only heighten the mystique, as each sale proves that demand for the 1983 error quarter remains strong and growing. Auction houses recognize the draw and highlight these coins prominently in their catalogs, often placing them alongside gold and silver rarities, confident that they will hold their own against any competition. For collectors, owning one of these coins is about more than just the monetary value. It's about possessing a piece of minting history, a reminder that even in an era of mass production and machinery, chance and imperfection can still produce something unique. The fact that such a coin could still be out there, sitting unnoticed in a change jar or lying in the back of a desk drawer, adds to its appeal. Stories of people finding rare coins in circulation decades after they were minted keep collectors hopeful and inspire countless searches through pocket change. Condition is critical when it comes to value. A 1983 Washington quarter error in pristine, uncirculated condition can fetch far higher prices than one that has seen heavy circulation. This is why professional grading services are often brought into the process. A coin graded at the top levels, with every detail crisp and every flaw from the mint preserved exactly as it happened, will always attract fierce competition at auction. Over time, the 1983 Washington quarter error has earned a reputation as a prize worth pursuing. It's a coin that combines historical interest with genuine scarcity, a combination that never fails to spark excitement when it surfaces. Whether it's an off-center strike, a wrong planchet, or a dramatic double strike, each example tells its own story of that split second in 1983 when something went differently in the minting process and created a collectible that would one day be worth far more than its face value. If you were to present a top-grade example at a major auction today, the result would likely be electric. Collectors in the room would lean forward, ready to bid, while others joined from around the world, each determined to be the one holding the coin when the hammer fell. The numbers would rise, first in comfortable steps, then in tense, drawn-out increments, as the auctioneer worked the crowd and the bidders pushed each other to their limits. And when the final call came, the winning bidder would not just walk away with a coin. They would take home a piece of history, a rare survivor from a year when perfection faltered and something exceptional emerged. Today, a very rare 1983 U.S. Washington $quarter coin with a significant mint error and high grade can achieve a remarkable value at auction, with prices ranging from $40,000 to $106,000. Proof that even the most ordinary-looking coin can, under the right circumstances, become a treasure worth fighting for. In the world of coin collecting, there are moments that stop you in your tracks. Moments where a small, seemingly ordinary piece of metal transforms into something extraordinary, not because of its face value, but because of the story it carries, the rarity it represents, and the passion it sparks among collectors. One such treasure is the 1965 U.S. Washington $quarter coin error, A coin that, on the surface, looks just like any other quarter from your pocket change. But beneath its modest appearance lies a mystery and a value that could leave you speechless. The year 1965 was a significant time in the history of U.S. coinage. It marked a monumental change, one that many Americans didn't fully realize at the time. Silver had been the standard for quarters, dimes, and half dollars for decades. But by 1965, the rising cost of silver forced the U.S. Mint to make a major shift. Instead of minting quarters from 90% silver, they transitioned to a copper-nickel clad composition, effectively ending the era of silver quarters for circulation. However, during that transition, errors occurred. And one such error is exactly why the 1965 Washington quarter can be worth not just 25 cents, but as much as $45,000 to $110,000, depending on the rarity and condition. Imagine holding a coin that, due to a mistake at the mint, was struck on a silver planchet intended for the previous year, or one that displays striking anomalies such as off-centering, double dies, or misaligned strikes. These coins are not just mechanical mishaps. They're artifacts of history, moments frozen in time when human oversight or machinery quirks created something truly unique. Picture the United States Mint in the mid-1960s. A bustling environment filled with the clanging of presses, the hum of conveyor belts, and the steady rhythm of thousands of coins being produced every minute. The pressure to meet production demands was immense, and with new materials being introduced and old ones phased out, the potential for error skyrocketed. Somewhere in that controlled chaos, a 1965 quarter was born with features it was never meant to have. Maybe a silver composition when the law required copper nickel, maybe a misaligned die that left part of the design floating off the rim, or a double strike that created a ghostly shadow of Washington's profile. For an average spender in 1965, these anomalies might have gone unnoticed. The quarter still worked in a vending machine, still bought you a soda, still jingled in your pocket with the rest of your change. But for today's collectors, these tiny quirks are like gold, or in this case, silver, hidden in plain sight. They represent opportunity and the thrill of the hunt. Now imagine this. You're sorting through a jar of old coins, maybe one you inherited from a family member or simply collected over years of emptying your pockets at the end of the day. Your fingers stop on a quarter with a slightly different tone. Maybe it feels a bit lighter or heavier than the others. You take a closer look and realize something's off. The edge isn't the familiar copper sandwich of modern quarters, but a uniform silver color. Or perhaps the lettering on Liberty looks doubled, almost like a shadow trailing behind it. Your heart starts racing, because if what you're holding is indeed a 1965 quarter struck on a silver planchet or with a major error, you might be holding something worth tens of thousands of dollars. Auction houses have seen examples of these coins fetch staggering amounts, some hitting that sweet range of $45,000 to $110,000. Think about that. A single coin you could have spent without a second thought could instead change your financial situation in a big way. But what makes these coins so valuable isn't just their rarity. It's the combination of historical significance, condition, and the market's appetite for the unusual. The transition year of 1965 holds a special place in numismatic history because it was the bridge between two eras, the silver coinage of the past and the clad coinage of the modern age. That's why collectors prize errors from this year so highly. They're living proof of a historic shift in U.S. currency. And when you add in the fact that errors are, by their very nature, unintentional and scarce, you have the perfect storm for high collector demand. Of course, not all 1965 quarters are created equal. The majority you'll find are the standard copper-nickel clad pieces, worth face value unless in pristine, uncirculated condition. But those elusive error coins, the ones struck on leftover silver planchet from 1964, or featuring dramatic double strikes, or bearing a misaligned die impression, are the ones that command those incredible auction prices. And finding them is not just about luck, it's about knowing what to look for. A trained eye can spot differences in weight, color, and strike quality that an average person might overlook. That's why so many seasoned collectors and treasure hunters spend hours poring over coin rolls from banks or sorting through estate sale finds. The romance of coin collecting lies in this very possibility, that hidden among the ordinary is something extraordinary. The idea that a small, forgotten coin could be a key to history, a rare artifact of American minting, and a ticket to a life-changing payday is enough to keep collectors searching year after year. And when stories circulate about someone discovering a rare 1965 quarter in their loose change and selling it for tens of thousands of dollars, it only fuels the passion further. These aren't just coins, they're whispers from the past, tangible connections to the people, decisions, and mistakes that shape the nation's currency. So, if you happen to come across a 1965 Washington quarter, take a moment before you spend it. Look closely at the details. Check the edge for that telltale copper stripe. Inspect the lettering and dates for doubling. Feel the weight in your hand. Because that ordinary-looking quarter could be hiding an extraordinary secret. And who knows? You might just be holding a piece of numismatic history worth between $45,000 and $110,000. A reminder that sometimes the smallest treasures are the most valuable of all. This is the thrill of the hunt, the magic of collecting, and the reason why stories of coins like the 1965 Washington quarter will continue to inspire collectors for generations to come. There's something undeniably exciting about finding treasure where you least expect it, and for coin collectors, that treasure doesn't always come in the form of gold bars locked away in a chest. Sometimes it's hiding right in the palm of your hand, in the form of a small, unassuming piece of change. One of the most captivating examples of this is the 1982 Washington quarter-dollar coin error, a coin that at first glance seems just like any other quarter you might get back at a gas station, but under the right circumstances can be worth not just a few cents more, but an astonishing $21,000 to $134,000. And the story behind it is just as intriguing as the number on the price tag. The year 1982 might not stand out to most people as a monumental moment in U.S. history, but in the world of numismatics, it was a year filled with subtle but important changes in coin production. The U.S. Mint was working at full speed to meet the growing demand for coins across the country. Denver, marked with its D Mint mark, was a hub of production for quarters that year, and the machines ran day and night. But in that constant hum of presses striking metal planchets, some errors slipped through, and those errors have become prized rarities today. One of the most remarkable and valuable types of 1982. D quarter errors involves planchets that weren't supposed to be used for quarters at all, or strikes where the details are dramatically different from what was intended. Imagine a press accidentally feeding in a blank mint for a different denomination, such as a 90% silver planchet left over from years before, or a foreign coin blank that somehow found its way into the system. Or think of a coin struck off center, missing parts of its design, or with a doubled image that makes Washington's profile appear to shimmer like a shadowed ghost. These are the mistakes that transform a 25-cent coin into a jaw-dropping collectible. Understand why the 1982 D error quarters are so special. It helps to picture the minting process. Every coin starts with a planchet, a smooth blank of metal cut from large sheets or coils. These planchets are fed into presses where they're struck by dies, engraved pieces of hardened steel that carry the coin's design. Under perfect conditions, the result is a sharp, clean image with consistent size, weight, and metal composition. But perfection isn't always reality. Planchets can be the wrong size, the wrong metal, or improperly prepared. Dies can crack, clash, or shift. Even a fraction of a second misfeed can lead to an offset or strike. Now picture the Denver Mint in 1982. Operators were dealing with high output, tight deadlines, and machines that didn't always cooperate. Somewhere in that fast-moving environment, a few coins emerged with characteristics they were never meant to have. And while most of those error coins were spotted and removed during quality control, a precious few escaped into circulation. Coins that today make collectors' hearts race. The thrill of discovering one of these coins is hard to overstate. Imagine buying a morning coffee, getting your change, and spotting a quarter with something just a little different. Maybe it feels slightly heavier or lighter than usual. Maybe the edge doesn't have the familiar copper-colored stripe of a clad quarter, but instead is a solid silver color all the way through. Or maybe you see that Washington's portrait looks doubled, or that part of the rim seems missing because the strike is way off center. If you know what you're looking at, you realize you might be holding a coin worth more than a brand new car. Some examples of the 1982 D Washington quarter-dollar coin error have fetched between $21,000 and $134,000 at auction, depending on the type and severity of the error, as well as the coin's condition. One of the most famous 1982 D errors comes from coins struck on planchets intended for other denominations or years. For example, during this time, leftover silver or copper planchets from earlier minting runs sometimes found their way into presses meant for modern clad quarters. since the U.S. Mint doesn't make a habit of producing coins on the wrong metal intentionally. Any that do slip through are incredibly rare. Even fewer survive today in high-grade, uncirculated condition, and those are the ones that bring the highest bids from eager collectors. Another category of 1982 D quarter errors includes dramatic strike anomalies, such as double strikes or broad strikes where the rim is missing. Double-struck coins can appear almost surreal, with overlapping images that make them look like optical illusions. Broad strikes, caused when the coin is struck without the collar die holding its shape, result in a larger, flat-edged piece that seems warped compared to a normal quarter. While these types of errors can happen in any year, the 1982 D varieties stand out because of the combination of minting quirks and the transition-era feel of the early 1980s in U.S. coinage. Collectors love these coins for more than just their monetary value. They represent mistakes that slip past one of the most controlled and precise manufacturing processes in the world. Every coin tells a story, but error coins tell a story of imperfection, of how even in a system built for consistency, the unexpected can happen. And when that unexpected result is a coin that survives for decades in pockets, drawers, and piggy banks before being rediscovered, it becomes a tangible piece of history. Part of the allure of the 1982 D-error quarter is the possibility that it could still be out there in circulation, waiting to be found. While the odds aren't exactly in your favor, the dream of discovery is what keeps many collectors checking their change daily. Bank coin rolls, garage sale change jars, and old family collections are all fair game for treasure hunters. And every so often, a lucky person stumbles upon one, sparking a wave of excitement in the coin community. Finding one isn't just luck, though, it's also about knowing the signs. The weight of a quarter struck on a silver planchet will differ slightly from the standard clad version. The color of the metal will be uniform without the telltale copper edge. Double dies will show slight shadowing in the lettering or Washington's profile, most visible under magnification. Off-center strikes will be obvious, with part of the design missing or shifted toward the edge. The financial payoff, of course, is what draws many people into the hunt. A 25-cent coin selling for $21,000 to $134,000 is an almost unbelievable leap in value, but it's happened more than once. Auction houses love showcasing these rarities because they attract not only seasoned numismatists but also newcomers who suddenly realize the loose change in their kitchen drawer might be worth a small fortune. The record-setting sales for 1982 D Washington quarter-dollar coin errors prove that the market for such treasures is alive and well, and fiercely competitive. But beyond the money, owning one of these coins means holding a tangible reminder of history, of the human element in a process most people assume is flawless. It's a conversation starter, a point of pride, and a piece of art all in one. And for those who've spent years searching, finding one feels like the ultimate reward, the end of one journey and the beginning of another, as they decide whether to keep it as a prized possession or let it go to the highest bidder the next time you get a quarter in your change, especially one from the 1980s, take a moment to look at it closely. Check the date. Check the mint mark. Check the edge. You might not find anything unusual, or you might just discover that the coin you're holding isn't just worth 25 cents, but somewhere between $21,000 and $134,000. And that's the magic of coin collecting. The knowledge that hidden treasures are still out there, quietly passing from hand to hand, waiting for someone with the curiosity and the eye to spot them.